Hi, this is Nancy with On Point TV. Hope you're all doing fine. We're going to go live here in a minute. We're learning the next step to the Tranquil Stars quilt. Just so you know, those of you that were helping keep track of like who's watching and who's not watching, I think we got all 50 states now. So it was really exciting to see that just about, you know what, I don't think Hawaii. So Hawaii, I'm not sure if there's any quilters out there, but it would be nice to know that you were watching. So we're going to do part 4 of the Tranquil Stars quilt now. So I want to show you a couple of things. The book is printed. So the book is now printed. It is a comb bound here with a nice bright red so you can see it in your bookshelf. There's the cover quilt. That's the one that my sister Renee designed it as. And just want to give you a sneak peek as to what things look like. So there's the, Athena keeps telling me higher, higher, higher. No, not too high. Okay. There's the fabric yardage chart. Here is a look at what the instructions look like. A lot of extra space for you to take notes in it. The whole book is available. You can print it out yourself. You can get it as an ebook on our website, onpoint-tv.com. And there is where you can also order the printed one. So I would mail it out to you. We do have some other things online too. So as long as we're there, this is the Learning to Quilt book. This is the one that's much bigger, a lot more information in that. And that is for, oh, higher. And that's for all the information for the Learning to Quilt series. You know, we had fun on Monday night. I had my last class with a group of about 15 ladies I'm teaching at Smith Owen Sewing Center. And I did a live video with them just showing all the beautiful colors and the different things that people did on their quilts. So if you're wondering what is Learn to Quilt all about, you might want to jump back to that live video from Monday night and you'll see all the quilts that the ladies made. Last but not least is I came up with a list. The ladies in class told me that they have a hard time finding a video on such and such. We've got a little over 200 videos. Some of them are bloopers and things like that, but the majority of them are actually techniques and classes. So Gina put on the website, if you go to OnPoint TV, OnPoint-TV, Gina put on the website under news. So instead of going to shop, go to news. There is a download for the On Point TV Index. So you can see, like right here, I know that's the
Topic Finder.
Topic Finder, that's what she called it. You can't see this because it's too small, but for instance, it says how to fold your fabric. So the way that I fold the fabric, you'll be able to just click on that video and it'll take you right to that video. A lot of them are playlists because there is a lot of information, like on the quilting, how I do my free motion quilting. I don't know, I think that there's 11 different videos. So you can choose which one you want or watch them all and have a grand old time. So under news on the OnPoint-TV website. All right, we're ready to start now. So we are today going to be making what I'm going to call, a magic tile. This isn't what its real name is. I don't know that it has a real name. It's a square with 2 half square triangles and a large triangle. So it's not a split quarter square triangle, because a split quarter square triangle is where there's just 2 triangles and the bigger one here. So we're going to call it a magic triangle, mainly because of the technique that I'm going to use. Now, it's not my technique. I found it from somebody else. It's what my sister printed in the book, so it's what I'm going to teach you. But I'm also going to teach you the old-fashioned way, and I want to show you the block. So, can you see that? All right, this is the block in the Tranquil Stars quilt, okay? So up till now, I'm going to review a little bit. This is another colorway I'm doing. We've done all the techniques for the medallion. So that's what the medallion looks like. We've done, actually we did not do the technique for these little setting squares, but they're easy enough. You wouldn't need any help with them. We've done the flying geese. This was the block that had the flying geese in it. We have done the half square triangles. This is the block that has the half square triangles. So you already know all the techniques for those blocks. Today I'm going to teach you this one with the magic triangles. When we get together next week, just so you know, it won't be on Wednesday. I think it's going to be on Thursday because there's a ball game on Wednesday and I'm going to go with my husband and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, the live will be on Thursday and it's going to be on square and a square technique, which is another one of the segments in this particular block. Okay? All right. So we've got all the logistics out of the way. We're going to go through a little bit of the step-by-step on how to make this magic triangle block. So it starts, if you're making it the old-fashioned way, it starts by cutting the squares. So in this particular instance, the squares are 2 inches, and these half square triangle units are cut from a 2 7/8 inch square cut on the diagonal, and then the large triangle, oh, I've got to try and remember, is cut from a 3 7/8 inch or a 4 inch half square triangle. And in the construction of this, I'll take you through it, but you would actually piece this triangle on, then this triangle on, then press it, then piece this one on. So I'll take you through that. But I think you already can imagine that there's got to be an easier way. So in the book, this is the easier way. First of all, instead of cutting individual squares, you're going to cut strips. You're going to cut one strip that's 2 inches wide by 17 and another strip that's 3 inches wide by 17. I've already done that, and I pressed it to the gold fabric in this case. Now, from that, I'm going to cut 2-inch segments. So let me get my smaller ruler. I'm going to cut 2 at a time because I can. Going to first square up, so I'm going to line it up on the seam line that I've got sewn. Square that up. Spin it around, and again, because I can, I'm going to power cut this next because it's 2 inches. So there's one 2-inch. Move it to the left, going to 2 inches. So if you're wondering what power cutting is all about, that's one of those videos on that index, or the, what did we call it, Gina?
Topic finders.
Topic finders. It's one of the videos on topic finders on the website, is power cutting and what's that all about. All right, so now I have these done. I'm going to take these to the sewing machine and I'm going to piece it together like this. So it's going to be a little odd. It's not like a 9-patch or a 4-patch where the seams are butting together. They've got about maybe 3/4 of an inch between them. We're going to take that and sew that. But now the next thing you need to get ready is your rectangles. The rectangles are cut 3.5 by 4.5 inches, which is an odd size. It just doesn't seem to really make sense, but it really works. On those, you're going to need to make a diagonal line. So there are 2 ways that you can make this diagonal line. The first way, and keep in mind I did spray size these so they've got a little bit of body to them, is to fold the square over. So I just folded it over until it's matched up there at the top and it's got a 45-degree angle, and I'm just going to finger press it. Now you could press that with your iron if you wanted to also. That gives me a crease. Now I'm going to go to the top right hand corner. Again, I'm going to fold it till it matches up and then do a little crease. So now I have these 2 lines, which are my sew lines. Another way you can do that is to use a tool. So this is the easy angle tool that we used for the half square triangles, one of those. If you take that tool and line it up so that the diagonal edge is right at the corner of the block and then the point is down here, that will give you a beautiful 45-degree angle. So you can just draw a sew line there, turn that around, and do the same thing. You know, this easy angle ruler is very, very helpful. There's just so many different things you can do with it. I showed you quite a bit with the half square triangles, but just know it's not a one-time use tool. There's a lot of different things you can do with this particular tool. So that's another way of doing it. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine. So I'm going to take my different angles. I'm going to just use the one that I drew on. I'm going to take one of these pieces that is the 2 that I cut out, and I'm going to take the one with all of the half square triangles, and we're going to go to the sewing machine now, okay? There we go. That's your hold music for the evening. I want to make sure my iron is getting hot. And scooch it over so Athena can come on in. Setting up on my sewing machine, I have it set over for my scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I am going to use the guide. This is the guideline for quilting. Okay, back up a second. I'll get you one out so you don't have to find that angle. So this is the guidelines for quilting seam guide. I don't know if you can actually read it. What it is it's just a very short, it's got a small profile, a smooth top, and a sticky on the back. Uh-oh, that's my doorbell. Just ignore that there's a visitor coming. And I have it set up right here, right next to my presser foot, and I've moved my needle over, and that's just going to help me keep my seams right. So I'm going to start with the one with the triangles. This is how it works. The idea is that you have the 2 triangles on either side. So this is the bias edge down here. So keep that in mind. People will accidentally get this lined up, try and figure out why it's not working. It's the bias edge is down here. So we're going to start by with the right hand side, and I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put a small pin in there because I want to show you something. You need to be sure that it's lined up on the straight edges. Oftentimes, that's where people go wrong with this, is they won't actually have that lined up, and that's the easy part. You can do that. The triangle will extend out a little bit more than 1/4 inch. It's some sort of strange fraction past here. I've got my leader in, and I'm going to just piece that with my scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. Grab another leader. I came prepared with leaders this time. You should be very proud of me. All right. Whoops. All right, now I'm just going to finger press this. You would press this on your ironing board is going to be the better choice. All right. So the first one is pieced on. Now I'm going to, I think that's on the wrong side. There, that's better. Now I'm going to piece the second one on the left-hand side. And same idea. I need to be sure that the square portion of it is actually lined up right. That's kind of important. If you get that lined up right, you've like won half the battle anyway. All right. So now we're going to continue. And this time I'm going to sew from this end. It kind of starts right there in that valley. There. Again, get my leader out there. Again, I'm going to just finger press this. Whoops, got a little bit of a pucker in there. No big deal. No quilt police here. All right, so now it's lined up and it looks like a small half square triangle. The next step is to take the half square triangle and line it up. So here's something for you to keep in mind. This is the correct size, okay? So we're going to lay this down, and it should be lined up with the little unit that I just made. And mine is a little big. So that means that my little unit was a little bit small. Just on one end though, that's kind of funny. Oops, there's a bent pin. There. All right. So I'm going to start sewing up here at the point. And what's important is this intersection right here. Now I sewed it with a light thread, which was really not fair of me. But there's a line of thread going here, right here, and a line of thread going here. I want to sew just to the right of that intersection. That way I know I will not lose my point of the gold square. So we're going to come in here, line that point up nice. Come here, little guy. There. All right. It'll pick it up, take it in. As I get to that intersection, remember, I'm going to try to go just to the right of that intersection. That looked good. And now I'm using the green as my seam guide because my cream is a little bit short. Come back and add my leader again. Now we're going to back up and go into the ironing board. I want to show you how this one turned out instead of going to the next one first. So we're going to go right here. All right. I'm going to press it flat first. Oops, we got to move the ironing board. Press it flat first. Now I want the seam to go toward the green fabric, so I'm going to press from the green side, flip up the green, and slide it over to the right. All right, and give it a nice long press so it'll hold. And there you have it. There is the magic triangle using the traditional method, the half square triangles pre-cut. Now I want to show you the magic method, where you don't have to have any pre-cut pieces. So it's going to start with, remember these two pieces that I cut. So this was cut a 3-inch strip and a 2-inch strip, sewed them together, then cut them apart and flipped them over. And I'm going to sew a scant 1/4-inch seam allowance right there. No need for pins, it's only strips. No triangle dealings yet. Cut that apart. Now we got to back up to the ironing board quick, because you've got to press this one before you can go on. And there's a little trick to this pressing. So first I'm going to just take my iron down. We cannot just take it and press it to one side, because this seam wants to go to one side and this seam wants to go to another side. And since they are going to end up in two separate blocks and we are going to cut them apart right between, so here's the gold and here's the gold, I am going to cut into the seam, and I actually crossed the seam. Can you see where here's the thread. Again, I used white. That wasn't very fair of me. And I clipped that seam. Now when I open it, they can press to the point of least resistance. This one wants to go to the left. This one wants to go to the right. Now if everything is worked out right, this is going to be the same size as that rectangle that I drew the lines on. So see how it's kind of split right there? All right, now back to the machine. At the machine, that's what it looks like. You don't have to worry about that little cut right there, okay? Trust me on this. I'm going to take this and put it right on top of it. I need to set my stitch length, or my needle position, back to the middle. Oops, I better lift up my needle. That's what I meant to do. Oh man. Okay, anyways, I'm going to take this back to the middle, to my 0 stitch. There. All right, because I am going to sew on those lines. So I'm going to take it through, sewing directly on the line, which is another reason, you know, that little seam guide I showed you, he's underneath there. He's not bugging me at all. I can just continue sewing. I used to use Dr. Scholl's, oh my goodness, I can't even remember. Moleskin, thank you, Gina. I used to use Dr. Scholl's Moleskin, which is what I had been taught. And when Guidelines for Quilting came out with their little guideline, that changed everything. It's like, why would I use the Dr. Scholl's when I've got this piece that's so flat? Okay, so now I'm coming through. Gonna sew on the other side. And this is my last one, so I'm just gonna cut off my thread. All right, back to the ironing board. All right, gonna press it flat first. Then take my scissors and cut right down the middle. And then like magic, which is why they're called magic. Oh my gosh, I did something wrong. Oh my gosh. Okay, I know exactly what I did wrong. Okay, I want you to, this is our example of what not to do, okay? Hold on, stay right there. I've got another one.
I feel like it's appropriate to go wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. All right, that's what it looks like when you do it wrong. So, very quickly, I'm going to sew these two pieces together again. I did that part right. Oops, stop. cut the thread. Got to move my needle over. There. Okay, I'm going to try that again. So now you know I make mistakes. And if you didn't know that already, Athena's not the slightest bit surprised. Okay, she's known me her whole, well, okay, most of her whole life anyway. All right, sew that to the end. Put my leader in, blah, 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 blah. You're like, been there, done that, seen that happen before. Okay, sew that to the end. Okay, going back to the ironing board. Gotta take out that one stitch I did that was wrong. That wasn't quite right. I've got a little mess back here. Okay, it'll be fine. It'll be fine, everybody. No crafting emergency here. Okay, so, and there's no quilt police either. All right, so press that flat, go through, cut my little slit right there in the middle so that I can press these to the point of least resistance. Gina's over there laughing at me. It's not very nice, Gina.
I'm playing with your cat.
Okay, she's playing with the cat. So this is the one that I actually drew the, I know exactly what I did now too. The diagonal that I drew, watch me flip this up. I'll have done the same exact thing. My diagonal need to be folded up the other way. All right, so I'm going to change that. If I didn't think it was important for you to see mistakes, I'd have had Athena show you the pretty kitty. But now the kitty's gone. Okay. Now I'm going to
Kitty
press
almost
this
took
other
me
one.
out.
The kitty's kind of big. I grow big cats around here. Okay. Okay. So I feel like I rushed through that a little bit. So I did the diagonal wrong. I just did it from the wrong direction. So this is a good test. When you flip it up, you should be able to see the square there. Okay? All right. So Athena's like amazed and marveled. Okay, now I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine. Going to put my needle back to the middle where it belongs. There. All right. Now I'm going to start. I'm going to sew on the first diagonal. Get it back in line there. Now I'm trying to decide if it's as magical as I thought it was. Seam ripper. Okay.
I think your audience questions it.
Are you guys questioning my skills now?
Not yet.
All right. Gina's not doubting. All right, man, I hope it turned out right this time or I'll be looking like quite the little fool. Okay, cutting my thread. Sorry, didn't mean to put my finger in front of your face. All right, so let's see how I did this time. Press it flat first. Everybody's fingers crossed. Everybody hold your breath. Oh, this is much better.
I can't stand the suspense.
The suspense is killing her. Now when I open it up, there, that's what it's supposed to look like. And I have two of them, which means I may have two that were made incorrectly also. But that's beside the point. I have two that were made quite beautifully, if I say so myself. That's what they look like. Now we're going to take that one and the one that I made with the half square triangles back to the cutting board, okay? Up we go. Oh, now there's no cat to see. No, they always leave at the most inopportune
But there's Gina.
times. Hi, Gina. All right. So these little guys should measure 3.5 inches. This is the one that I did with the half square triangles. He looks good, although I probably would take the time to cut off my ear. So if I line it up, horizontal line on my little ruler, I can cut that off. So I've got one, and then here is the other two that I just made. Again, 3.5. Yeah, that looks pretty darn good. Is there anything up there? Nope, I could trim off that smidgen, but I don't need to. All right, take this guy up here, and I'll cut that little ear off too. There you go. So they both turn out quite nicely. And if you sew the quite right diagonal, which FYI, it would help if I actually read the instructions. I've done it before, so I didn't take the time to look in the book and see what angle Renee told me to put the lines on. Okay,
People
sorry,
are
Renee.
happy that you're human.
They're happy. Are you happy that I'm human? That's
Yes.
good to know,
Yes.
because I am. All right, I'm going to cut that thread. So there you have it. That is the magic triangles in the Tranquil Stars book. Next time, the live video will be on Thursday, and we'll be doing the square in a square technique. I don't think there's anything else. Was there any, breathtaking questions?
No.
All right. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next week for part 5.